What if I told you that Jason Bourne, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even the Hulk all appeared in groundbreaking queer films? Some of Hollywood's biggest names took on powerful LGBTQ+ roles that most fans have completely forgotten about. This is PrideFlix, and these are 10 actors you didn't know starred in gay films before they were famous. Number 10, Colin Firth. We're starting way back in 1984, long before Colin Firth became Mr. Darcy or won an Oscar for The King's Speech. Fresh out of drama school, Firth landed a role in Another Country, a British drama set in a 1930s English boarding school where homosexuality, communism, and betrayal intersect in explosive ways. Firth played Tommy Judd, a Marxist student who forms a complex friendship with Guy Bennett, a gay student navigating the oppressive atmosphere of elite British education. The film starred Rupert Everett in a breakthrough performance, but Firth more than held his own as the intense, idealistic Tommy. Another Country was groundbreaking for its time, openly addressing homosexuality in a period setting and connecting personal identity with political rebellion. It was based on a successful stage play and became a critical success, launching both Firth and Everett into the British film industry. For Firth, this was literally one of his first major film roles. He was in his early 20s, still finding his feet as an actor. The film showed he could handle complex material with intelligence and nuance, qualities that would define his entire career. Most fans today know Firth as the epitome of restrained British charm, but Another Country reveals a much younger, rawer performer willing to tackle controversial subjects right out of the gate. Number 9, Ewan McGregor. Before Ewan McGregor became Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars prequels, he starred in one of the most audacious, visually stunning queer films of the 1990s, Velvet Goldmine. McGregor played Kurt Wilde, a raw, uninhibited rock star modeled after Iggy Pop. The film features explicit scenes of sexual fluidity, gender-bending performances, and unapologetic queerness, set against the backdrop of 1970s glam rock culture. McGregor threw himself into the role with total commitment, performing music, embracing the androgynous aesthetic, and delivering intense romantic scenes with co-star Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. The film's celebration of sexual freedom, artistic rebellion, and nonconformity resonated deeply with LGBTQ+ audiences. It won awards at Cannes and has only grown in stature over the years. For McGregor, this came at a fascinating point in his career, right between Trainspotting and Star Wars. He was still young and hungry, willing to take creative risks. The role proved he wasn't interested in playing it safe or sticking to conventional leading man parts. Watching Velvet Goldmine today, you see an actor completely unafraid of his own sexuality and image, a quality that's defined much of his best work. Number 8, Matt Damon. In 1999, fresh off the success of Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon took on one of the most psychologically complex roles of his career in The Talented Mr. Ripley. He played Tom Ripley, a con artist who becomes obsessed with the wealthy, charismatic Dickie Greenleaf, played by Jude Law. Tom's obsession with Dickie goes far beyond admiration. It's desire, envy, and longing, all wrapped into one toxic package. Director Anthony Minghella created a lush, sun-drenched thriller that explores themes of identity, class, sexuality, and the masks we wear to fit into society. While the film doesn't explicitly label Tom as gay, his queerness is undeniable. There are scenes of him watching Dickie with yearning, moments of intimate tension, and a tragic love that can never be spoken aloud. Damon played these layers with remarkable subtlety, making Tom sympathetic even as he spirals into darkness and violence. The Talented Mr. Ripley was a major critical and commercial success, earning multiple Oscar nominations. It solidified Damon as a serious actor capable of carrying complex, morally ambiguous characters. This wasn't the earnest math genius from Good Will Hunting. This was something darker and more dangerous. For Damon, it remains one of his finest performances and a reminder that he's always been willing to explore challenging, unconventional material. Number 7, Leonardo DiCaprio. 2 years before Titanic made Leonardo DiCaprio the biggest movie star on the planet, he took on one of the boldest, most sexually explicit roles of his career in Total Eclipse. He portrayed the French poet Arthur Rimbaud in a passionate, volatile relationship with fellow poet Paul Verlaine. DiCaprio was only 21 years old, but he delivered raw, intense, romantic, and sexual scenes that shocked audiences. This wasn't a sanitized Hollywood version of a historical romance. DiCaprio brought his signature intensity to the role, capturing Rimbaud's brilliance and self-destruction in equal measure. He showed a young man consumed by poetry, rebellion, and desire, refusing to conform to society's expectations. The performance is fearless, especially considering this came just before his transition to global superstardom. Critics were divided on the film itself, but many praised DiCaprio's commitment. Looking back now, it's astonishing that he took this role right before Titanic. Would he play a character like this today? But in 1995, he wasn't concerned with image or marketability. He was an artist taking risks. Total Eclipse remains a fascinating artifact in DiCaprio's filmography, a snapshot of a young actor willing to push boundaries and challenge both himself and audiences. Number 6. Mark Ruffalo. Now you might be thinking, wait, Mark Ruffalo was already famous by 2014. While Ruffalo was known for blockbusters like The Avengers, The Normal Heart showed a completely different side of him and introduced him to audiences who only knew him as the Hulk. This HBO film, directed by Ryan Murphy and based on Larry Kramer's groundbreaking play, tells the story of the early days of the AIDS crisis in New York City. Ruffalo plays Ned Weeks, a writer and activist fighting desperately to get the government and medical establishment to acknowledge and respond to the epidemic. Ruffalo's performance is searing. He brings rage, heartbreak, and fierce determination to Ned, a man watching his friends die while the world looks away. The film doesn't shy away from the horror of the crisis, or the profound love and loss experienced by the LGBTQ+ community during this dark period. The Normal Heart earned multiple Emmy nominations and became essential viewing for understanding AIDS activism and queer history. For Ruffalo, it was a passion project, a chance to use his platform to tell a story that mattered deeply. The film reminded audiences that Ruffalo is more than a Marvel superhero. If you're loving this deep dive into LGBTQ+ film history, don't forget to hit that join button to support PrideFlix and get access to exclusive content. Number 5. Ben Whishaw. Long before Ben Whishaw became the tech-savvy Q in the James Bond franchise, or won acclaim for A Very English Scandal, he was delivering intense, emotionally raw performances in British indie cinema. One of his earliest roles was in My Brother Tom, a dark coming-of-age drama exploring obsession, trauma, and identity. Whishaw plays a troubled young man struggling with psychological issues and a complicated, intense relationship with his adoptive brother. The film deals with themes of repressed sexuality, emotional trauma, and the blurred lines between different kinds of love. It's uncomfortable, deeply introspective, and not an easy watch, but Whishaw's performance is mesmerizing. At the time, Whishaw was fresh out of drama school, virtually unknown outside of British theater circles. My Brother Tom showcased his ability to inhabit complex, morally ambiguous characters. Whishaw has consistently chosen challenging roles. The film didn't achieve commercial success, but it put Whishaw on the radar of critics and casting directors who recognized genuine talent. My Brother Tom remains a crucial early chapter in understanding Ben Whishaw as an artist. Number 4. Armie Hammer. Call Me By Your Name isn't exactly obscure. It became a cultural phenomenon, earned 4 Oscar nominations, and is considered one of the most beautiful LGBTQ+ films ever made. But here's the key. Before this film, Armie Hammer was relatively unknown. This movie launched him into the stratosphere. Hammer plays Oliver, a charming American graduate student who spends a summer in 1980s Italy and begins a tender, passionate romance with 17-year-old Elio, played by Timothée Chalamet. The film, directed by Luca Guadagnino, is achingly beautiful. Hammer's performance is remarkable for its warmth and restraint. Oliver is confident and self-assured, but Hammer brings vulnerability and genuine emotion to the role. His chemistry with Chalamet is electric. The film's most powerful scenes come from quiet moments: a hand on a shoulder, a lingering look, a conversation about desire and fear. Call Me By Your Name became a defining piece of queer cinema. It sparked countless think pieces, inspired devoted fans. His portrayal of Oliver is gentle, masculine, emotionally open, and deeply human. For many viewers worldwide, this was their introduction to Armie Hammer. While his career has since become controversial for non-film related reasons, Call Me By Your Name remains a masterpiece, and his performance in it is undeniably powerful. Number 3. James Franco. Before James Franco became one of Hollywood's most polarizing and controversial figures, he earned serious critical acclaim for his role in Milk, Gus Van Sant's Oscar-winning biopic about groundbreaking LGBTQ+ activist and politician Harvey Milk. Franco played Scott Smith, Harvey Milk's long-term partner, while Sean Penn took home the Academy Award for his transformative portrayal of Milk. Franco's performance was equally vital to the film's emotional core. He brought warmth, loyalty, and quiet strength to Scott, a man who loved Harvey deeply. Franco captured the heartbreak of watching someone you love choose a cause over personal safety and happiness. His chemistry with Penn felt genuine and moving, grounding the film's political narrative in deeply personal stakes. The film shows their relationship from its passionate beginning through its painful dissolution, and Franco handles every beat with sensitivity and authenticity. Milk was a major awards contender and a cultural milestone, bringing Harvey Milk's story to mainstream audiences and honoring the early LGBTQ+ rights movement. Franco's willingness to take on this role with such commitment showed artistic maturity and respect for queer history. Despite Franco's later controversies, Milk remains an important film, and his contribution to it is part of cinematic history. Number 2. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This is the performance that stops people in their tracks. Long before Joseph Gordon-Levitt became a romantic comedy heartthrob in 500 Days of Summer or a blockbuster action star in Inception, he took on the most challenging, emotionally brutal role of his career in Mysterious Skin. Directed by Greg Araki and based on Scott Himes' novel, the film follows two boys who experienced childhood sexual abuse and how that trauma shapes their lives into adulthood. Gordon-Levitt plays Neil McCormick, a teenage hustler who uses sex as a means of control, survival, and self-destruction. The film is unflinching, raw, and deeply uncomfortable, but also essential viewing for understanding trauma, resilience, and the long-term effects of abuse. Gordon-Levitt's performance is absolutely fearless. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't soften the edges. He portrays Neil with a complex mix of detachment, defiance, buried pain, and moments of devastating vulnerability. This isn't a glamorous role. It's not designed to make you like him, but it's achingly real, and critics still consider it his career-defining work. Mysterious Skin shattered that wholesome image completely and proved he was a serious actor willing to take massive risks for his art. The film didn't make money. It didn't win major awards, but it became a cult classic and a landmark in queer cinema. And it remains the film that truly announced Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a major talent. Number 1. Jake Gyllenhaal. At number 1, we have the film that changed everything. By 2005, Jake Gyllenhaal was a respected actor with a solid career, but Brokeback Mountain catapulted him into the A-list stratosphere and became one of the most important LGBTQ+ films ever made. Directed by Ang Lee and based on Annie Proulx's short story, Brokeback Mountain tells the tragic love story of two cowboys, Jack Twist and Ennis Del Mar, who fall in love while working together one summer in Wyoming, then spend the next 20 years unable to fully be together due to societal pressure, internalized homophobia, and the suffocating constraints of 1960s and 70s America. Gyllenhaal plays Jack, the more open, optimistic, and emotionally expressive of the two. He brings warmth, longing, heartbreak, and quiet desperation to the role. His chemistry with Heath Ledger is extraordinary. You feel every moment of their love, their pain, their stolen happiness, and their impossible situation. Jack's famous line, "I wish I knew how to quit you," became instantly iconic and still breaks hearts today. Brokeback Mountain wasn't just a film. It was a cultural earthquake. It sparked national conversations about LGBTQ+ representation, masculinity, love, and acceptance. It won 3 Academy Awards and was nominated for Best Picture. Despite the Oscar controversy, many believe it should have won, the film's impact was undeniable. For Gyllenhaal, this role was transformative. It earned him an Oscar nomination and proved he could handle emotionally demanding material with grace and power. But Gyllenhaal committed fully, never wavering, never apologizing. He's delivered countless powerful performances since, from Nightcrawler to Prisoners to Demolition, but Brokeback Mountain remains a defining moment. It's the film that proved Jake Gyllenhaal was one of the finest actors of his generation. Which of these surprised you most? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to PrideFlix, and hit that join button for exclusive content. Thanks for watching, and stay proud.